Life and business can be easy, but us silly humans love getting in our own way. My name is Nicholas Verge, and I've had a wild journey. From releasing traumas that I held on to for decades, to playing college athletics, working with multi-million-dollar brands, having a spiritual awakening, and now coaching incredible humans navigate their inner and outer world. The Just Grow podcast is my outlet to share and help others with life and business. After investing north of $100,000 into my personal and professional development, the Woo plus Do formula is what has served me best. A healthy combination of mindset, energetics, consciousness, spirituality, self-healing, and discovery, matched with a high-level strategy, principles, focus, optimization, and accountability to help you be, do, and have everything that has been placed in your heart. This podcast is for the impact-driven entrepreneur that is finally ready to start thriving internally and externally. Welcome to Just Grow. Yo, what's happening, my friends? Welcome to the Just Grow podcast. My name is Nico Rapcliffe. So pumped to have you here. I am the host if you're new around these parts. This interview is going to be with my good friend Nick Verge. We met years ago. He was one of the first people I met when I moved to Arizona, and our relationship was largely based on the Woo and Do framework, even before it was called the Woo and Do framework. But we talked a lot about vision and casting that vision out while also building a skill set that can help you fulfill that vision. So that's exactly what we talked about on this particular episode. We talked about the mindset, the energetics, the vision, but also building a skill set that can help you actually fulfill that vision. He's helped his clients make millions and millions of dollars. So you're not going to want to miss a single second of this episode. Before we do jump in, I want to let you know about our next Just Grow podcast live event on November 16th. So if you're seeing this before then and you go to justgrowpodcast.com and there still is tickets available, go ahead and purchase yours, and we'll see you on the 16th. We already have over 100 people registered for the event right now, as is. So just a little bit away, and really excited to see you all there. So without further ado, let's head on to this interview with Nick Verge.
Well, dude, thanks for being on. This is I was kind of reflecting on this because we've known each other for a
almost
fair
like
bit.
4 or 5 years now.
And when we met, you were starting out with that Burnout University clothing line.
Yeah.
And then we went and grabbed coffee, and then we started, I don't know, just chatting, and then I gave you access to the Sam Ovens course.
Yes, I remember that.
And then things seemed to shift pretty quickly from there.
That was definitely like the turning point for everything. So I started out, I guess just for context for people who don't know me, I started out as a community college dropout. I did like a month in community college and just was like, I don't want to do this. I don't like this. It's just like, I'm very big now on understanding that anytime if I have a natural gut instinct that does not feel positive towards something, it is like my soul trying to guide me away from that.
Right.
And so I had a very negative, like visceral response to community college and just college in general, and I didn't want to do it. And so I just dropped out, and I was like, I'll just make money for myself. I was working restaurant jobs. I worked at like a Chick-fil-A. I worked at like a call center. And I was just trying to figure out how to make money. And I had a clothing brand on the side because I was like, you got to have a business as well. And like that was my idea of a business, is like logos on clothes and selling them, which is a business, but I was doing it at such a small scale. Then I think it was probably, I think I met you when I was about like a year into my brand, or like a half year or something like that, like around that point. And yeah, I started to think about things from the perspective of like what I was doing for myself. Like, wait, what if I did this for like a business that was making like $1 million a year? You know, I'd probably make more money. Started going down the Becker rabbit hole. Found Alex Becker. From Alex Becker, found Sam Ovens. Started binge watching all of Sam Ovens' content on YouTube back when he was like the GOAT at that era. Yeah. And then I met you through that. You gave me access to that, and yeah, dude, like, definitely changed, because I think of that first part, we talk about it a lot, that was the alchemy of self.
Yeah.
That intro like changed everything for me and how I viewed myself, and I think even, you know, just everything else from a business perspective, like how to consult, how to do that, you know, it just set the tone for me. Again, just to like quickly go through stories so like people could watch this and just be like, okay, I got a grasp of this guy. I started out and realized from Sam Ovens' thing, like, okay, I want to do copywriting. I did copywriting for about 5 years straight. It was legit just like at a very small scale in the beginning. I met a guy named Kyrie who was really plugged into the digital marketing world, and he showed me how to network properly in the digital marketing world and how to like set a good reputation for yourself. And that made it really easy to just start meeting bigger and bigger clients. And so, I went from like 1 million produced to like 3 million produced to like 5 million produced. And then I met this guy, Ron Lynch, who changed everything for me. He showed me how to like actually be a professional with what I was doing and not just be like 21, 22-year-old money maker online, And so he turned me into a real professional. From that point on, it was just whoosh, like all in all, for clients I've produced probably anywhere between 35 and 40 million. And I know some people will hear that and be like, that's like quite a big gap, like $5 million. There's zero way to track it. Like I'm not gonna call my clients every month from 4 years ago, hey, like how much are those email automations doing? Like, so you can't track it at all. But yeah, I went all in. I got to a point where I've created a very nice, successful life for myself. I've been able to, produce amazing results for clients, and now I'm kind of stepping into the new era of I'm the one running the business versus like plugging into someone's business as a freelancer, as a consultant or anything like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like a good like synopsis of that, and I'm sure we'll like dimensionalize that as we keep going in the combo.
It's cool because obviously I've been able to observe and watch your journey all the way through, and it's been really cool to watch and just. I think it's really cool now on what you're doing is because like you're starting to become really the face and you're creating your own business as opposed to just building other people's businesses.
Well, I'm actually more so like the host. I don't even call myself the face. Like I have all the other guys as the face. So we have, what we basically did, the brand's name is called For Creators. And what we did is we took the world's most leading experts in the creator economy. And when I say most leading, I mean highest performing. I don't care if someone has 1 million followers. I know plenty of guys who have 1 million followers and are broke. So I picked the guys who are making the most money in this space and that are crushing it, and without doing it, in a grifting way. Like they're ethical, they have respect, the industry knows them, and I'm so plugged into the industry that like I know who's legit, who's not legit. And so I take these guys and I allow people to have access to them, and I kind of just like use that as a way for me to be able to host and guide them through that journey. Because it's like I know each of their topics. I've kind of become a version myself of a Renaissance man, and that I have all these different areas that I'm skilled in. So why not take the people they specialize in that specific thing, this guy specializes in this specific thing, and give people access to that so they can get basically mentorship and coaching on their specific situation. I think a lot of programs like Sam's stuff are really good for beginners, but okay, once you've hit 10K a month, 15K a month, cookie cutter stuff doesn't work anymore. Because and especially when you're building your own business, you need to have personalized guidance for what you're doing. So more so, I wanted to be able to kind of serve as a host rather than like face of brand. I'm gonna be there always because it's my thing, but I want to allow other people to step forward as the number one, and I can kind of chill in the background and manage the whole thing.
I like that.
Yeah.
And I think there's so much power in being the host, right? I've recognized that a lot as I've built this whole podcast out, and how my network has expanded vastly.
Yep.
Because people will ask me a lot of times, like especially after events, are like, how do you know so many people? And everything shifted when I started throwing events.
Yeah.
Because people start bringing people to me.
Yep.
And it's the same, I feel like it's going to be the same concept with
100%.
you, and the fact that you have people that are in their lane doing what they're meant to be doing and are the best at what they do, as opposed to you trying to like spread yourself thin to like just facilitate everything.
I just think humility is huge, and I don't feel like enough people have humility nowadays. I think that everyone wants to act like they're the end-all be-all guru, and for me, I think as I've matured more with age, I've realized that that's actually like a detriment to you. Like I know what I'm really good at. I'm better than pretty much 99.99% of the population of the earth is copywriting. I'm not good at teaching someone how to like find their identity. I'm not good at teaching people, I'm okay at them, right? But there's experts that like legit, this is all they do. All I did for 5 years was write copy, so that's all I feel comfortable teaching. So I think like allowing myself to be in my zone of genius, allowing other people to be in their zone of genius, and then the people that come into our thing and our ecosystem, they're in their zone of genius and they can co-create with us at the same time. I think co-creation is the most powerful form of creation.
Yeah.
Like this, right? It's like co-creation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, let's talk about this, because this is why obviously I've been observing you and watching you having a lot of success, and that's amazing. And then lately I've been seeing you post a lot of stuff about, a fair amount of stuff about more mindset stuff, about seeing the vision, becoming that person before you actually become that person. Mm-hmm. So walk me through that. Like, how early did that start where you started seeing yourself as this person way long ago?
I think that it starts as imagination as like a kid, right? You imagine yourself as like a superhero or like whatever you're doing. But at a certain point, people start telling you like you shouldn't imagine, you know, like daydreaming's bad, you know, like you should be grounded in reality. And I think that because when I met you, I was doing clothing and I was doing designing and art allows you or requires you to see something in your mind's eye and then create it into reality. And so you're doing this in a very physical sense. But I started around that time when I saw Sam's stuff with the Alchemy of Self. I realized that, well, what if I could be the artist for my own life and design and create my life the way that I wanted it to be? And at first it was just like, you know, your standard 21-year-old or 20-year-old vision board, Mercedes, like S-Class, 6 foot tall, like, you know, you're crushing it, all these types of things, right? You're just like a private jet, it's got the rollie on and everything like that. But then, and I think it was just super material. I went, and funny enough, like I did all that stuff. Like, I was like 23 years old, I had a 911, I had a big house, I was very successful, like I was making tons of money for that age, like I had a very successful dating life and I was doing all this stuff and I was like, I feel like really empty. And it's because the person was not defined. Like I wasn't there, I was just basically an extension of all the stuff I owned. And so my identity was around my stuff. So I was like, well, that's odd. I focused on this thing and thought about this stuff. And I remember one day like walking out into my driveway when I had the house in Gilbert and just like visualizing a 911 on the driveway. I just sat there for like 10 minutes. I would always have coffee out front because there'd be like nice sun coming in. And I was just sitting there and all I was doing was just visualizing that car. 2 weeks later, car's there. It didn't just like appear or someone gave it to me. I went and bought the fucking car, but I visualized it and saw it first and saw it come into reality. So I think the first side of this was like a little bit of business success, right? Seeing clients coming in and seeing success happening. Then from there, like physical success. But it wasn't until after that when I like felt really empty and hollow at the end of just like a lot of materialism that I started to understand that the only thing that matters is not the stuff I own, it's the man that I am and who I am as an individual. And that has more currency because I looked at the guys I was learning from, the mentors I respected. Like nobody cared about the car that he drove. They cared about the man that he was. Mm-hmm. And so I started focusing more of that magic superpower of visualization around who I am. How do I show up when someone's angry at me? How do I show up when my friend needs something from me? How do I, like even, you know, a friend of mine the other day, he called me about a scenario. I'm not gonna go into details out of privacy, but he called me about a scenario with a girl that he kind of is like hiring and is an employee, and she was saying this, this, and this, and he was like, I don't know how to react to this, I don't like it, da, da, da. And I just, you know, very commonly like, okay, what do you need from me right now? Do you need feedback or do you need support? Like the ability to be that person that can show up and filter what the person is saying is like sometimes people just kind of need to verbally throw up a little bit, like they just need someone to vent to. They may not want your feedback, right? So being able to be that person that can discern what the person needs at all times, being able to look at like how I show up when I'm around women, how I show up when I'm around other men, how I show up in my business when someone asks me for something, when someone makes an unreasonable request, when someone's invading a boundary. Like these things are actual life. Mercedes-Benz and Louis Vuitton and all this type of stuff is not life. That's the world. To me, life is much more about how you show up to it. And so I just started getting very, very intentional on how do I want to show up. I don't want to show up like a prince anymore. I want to show up like a king. How does a king act? And so all of that kind of just started stemming from that first, like, okay, well, it works. At least it feels like it works, the visualization stuff. I mean, whether it works or not, it works for me, like works for you, like we like it, right? Some people will say it doesn't work. But yeah, I think that it just slowly started to become more about the way I showed up. And then funny enough, all the success and all the money and, you know, whatever just became a byproduct of who I was, not because of me thinking about I need money, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think when you focus on just those external things, then that's when you see so many people just like that got in your situation where it's like, okay, you got it all, but then what's next? Right? Yeah. And you're always just playing the more game. And it's a game you never win.
There's nothing wrong with materialism, but materialism shouldn't be the focus. You know what I mean? Like I love cars. I love my car. Like I recently bought a Beamer. I love it. It's amazing. Every single time I call it, I'm not gonna say it on the podcast, I call it the fun button is what we'll call it. The fun button, and then you could probably fill in the blanks there. It's the fun button, and it literally just, boom, like I love it, super fun. I love going to nice dinners. I love being able to enjoy like the pleasantries of life. I love spending money. I love exchanging money. But I also realize like it doesn't matter. It's meaningless. There's no meaning around it. I don't care about it at all. And a lot of my friends, when they're around me, like I was with a buddy at dinner the other week, and he's like, yeah, I got to start like kind of looking at budgets and whatnot. And I was just like, he's like, what? I was like, spend more. And he's like, what? Like, what do you mean, dude? Like I have this, this, and this going on. I'm like, dude, like money, that's not how money acts. Money, like you thinking that, oh, I'm going to be very like conservative with my money and budget it and everything, and that money is going to flow to me because of that. Money likes it when you spend it because you don't care about it. That which you don't give care to, like that which you're not focused on or whatever, it just seems to keep coming. You see this sometimes with women where it's like you're not talking to her and then she's like still wanting to come to you because you're on your purpose. Your purpose should not be the money. Your purpose should be you as an individual, and naturally money is a byproduct of that. So I don't think there's anything wrong with consumerism inherently. Like, I mean, I love consumerism and I love materialism because I'm in a world that's material. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I should say yet, not but yet at the same time, I'm able to realize that it doesn't matter. I'm never taking any of this stuff to the grave. I might as well just use it as like fun coupons. And then for me, I'm just enjoying my life, and I'm becoming the person I want to be in the process, so I can show up for the people around me and serve the people around me that I want to serve.
I love that, because that was the one other thing I was gonna say. It's just a byproduct.
100%.
Right? And so one thing that I've been really focused on lately, and we've been talking a lot about inside of our Skool community and with clients, is like, how do you continue to ask yourself those questions of like, how would my highest self approach this? What are they, not even necessarily like what do they do, but like, how do they think? How do they operate? How do they handle adversity?
Yeah. I think for me, it's just like that's the purpose of Christ. Like, the whole purpose of Christ is like so you can humble yourself. Mm-hmm. Like, if you don't have a someone above you, like think about if you're in a company. If you're number 2, right? There's always a number 1 ahead of you. You kind of humble yourself. You know the number 1 is the number 1. So for me, I think that the way that you keep humbling yourself is really like, I guess the question, like how do you keep asking yourself the question, is you should practice being humble. And humbling yourself. And I think that's the whole purpose of Christ, is like there's a man who attained perfection for us, and we are supposed to kind of compare ourselves to him. And I don't want to turn this into like a religious podcast or anything like that, but I really do think that that's the best way to do it, at least for me. Like when I read Proverbs, or when I'm just studying the Bible, and when I'm thinking about the concept of Christ, even just the concept, it humbles me a lot, and it helps me realize that like, okay, well, this doesn't matter, that doesn't matter, I could have showed up better here, I shouldn't have done this, I shouldn't have done that. It's okay, I can be better and keep growing. And I think a lot of that just comes from like actually spending time by yourself. I have a really good friend in Tampa, and we were talking about this when I was there last time, that like the average person like does not think. And I don't mean it even in just like they don't think about what they're doing. Like, no, they just don't actually spend time like blocked out on a calendar, like thinking time. And I think that, what's his name, Keith Cunningham, The Road Less Stupid, fantastic book for anyone that is looking for like a business book. He talks about this, intentional thinking time. If you just spend time thinking, all the answers you have will come flooding in. Like I think we're way more brilliant than we give ourselves credit for, because we have access to something that, like, you know, most people don't even give themselves credit for having access to it, you know?
That's funny that you bring that up, because I've at times I've read that book, and then at times I've made that like a non-negotiable every week, where I have blocked out thinking time, at least an hour.
Yeah.
I'm just like letting the thoughts flow out.
Yeah.
And
you're channeling at that point, bro. Like you think about what are a thought. What is a thought? Can you even explain it? It's a question for you. Like, can you?
No, I mean I think you're exactly right.
Yeah.
Is it just? I mean, we go. Really
Let's get woo. Let's get woo with it.
But it's like, are there original thoughts?
No, there's nothing new under the sun. There's maybe original positioning, but there's no such thing as original thoughts. Like any thought you've had, like it's like the meme from South Park, like Simpsons did it. Like there's always been a previous version of it in some way, shape, or form. I don't think there's original thoughts. I think what thoughts are energy. And if you look at a thought as a form of energy, like for instance, so you know whenever like you smoke a little bit of weed and like your brain's just racing. So it's not the speed of your brain that's speeding up. Your brain can't speed up. Your brain's processing power is set at the number it is. It's your IQ. Your IQ is your processing power. So that can maybe fluctuate by 5 to 10 points depending on if you're hungover, if you're under a substance or whatever. So all that happens with a drug like weed, because it's a feminine drug, if you think of the feminine as receiving and the masculine as giving. So if the feminine is all about receiving, when you take a feminine drug, what you're allowing yourself to do is imagine like your head, I'm not gonna do it like that, but imagine your head is like a pipe, right? And it's like a circle. All you're doing is whoosh, making it bigger. So the ability for you to receive is much larger. That's why people start getting anxiety. I think anyone that has anxiety from weed or from that, usually what it means is you actually have a lot of negativity in your system, and that's now, it's just expanding at that point. If I ever smoke, like when I do, I have a great time. I'm in paradise. I'm thinking about God, I'm talking to Christ, like I'm just loving myself, I'm loving all the people around me, like I become more of a lover. This is the inverse effect with alcohol though. Like with alcohol, I'm not that at all. I feel like it's a lowering of a frequency. But at the same time, you have to realize that it's a proxy, it's not the real thing. So it doesn't really matter. Like I don't think it should be a common thing. Like stoners who are consistently doing that becomes their crutch, so. I think that the thoughts are nothing more than the energy, and there's certain things we can do to channel energy better, thinking time, intentional grounding, meditation. Some people use substances, some people go towards psychedelics, some people microdose, whatever it is. I think there's so many of these options towards it. For me, all I'm looking for is what are the ones that are gonna get me to where I wanna go? And simply thinking that, like, okay, what thoughts do I need to be thinking to get me there? You talked about this in the Vision Espresso thing, the principle of inversion from Warren Buffett. Love that. It's such a good principle. And what it is essentially for anyone watching is you take whatever, like, okay, let's say that I wanted to have success and I'm like, what are the thoughts that are gonna lead to success? What are the thoughts that are not gonna lead to success, right? List out all those thoughts, inverse it, there's the thoughts that'll lead to success. Because it's easier for people to think about the negatives and the positives because they've been programmed by the negative their entire life. So that's just the easiest way to get to that. And all it is just what's the right energy to allow to flow through me, through my thoughts, through my actions, through whatever.
And you can only do that when you take time to actually set aside. Like if we're just scrolling on Instagram or whatever, you don't have that space to create that. I want to hear your beef on manifestation.
My beef?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's necessarily that I have a beef. I think that most people don't understand it. And I think that if you start to understand the esoteric perspective and study the esoteric perspective, you'll better understand it. So I had a very brief stint with Freemasonry that exposed me to the esoteric. And once I kind of understood it, I was like, I don't want to join a cult. This is how the way I view it. I'm a leader. Leaders don't join cults. Leaders build cults.
Yeah.
Ethical cults, hopefully, right? So once I got it and I was like, cool, these are the authors and these are the people, out. I didn't need anything. I got what I needed and left. And so through reading a lot of different authors that were previous Masons or, just et cetera, like they have, associations with it or it was the authors, you learn about two laws. So the one law that everyone knows is the law of attraction. It's the big buzzword, the secret, everything like that. So it's basically the concept is that what you think attracts itself towards you, right? But then what's missing is the other side of it. So do you know the Freemason logo? Do you know what it is? The square and compass or whatever?
No.
So what it is this square of compass that looks like a pyramid, kind of, it looks like a triangle, but it's a square and compass, and there's a G in the middle of it. The G everyone thinks is God or gnosis, but really what it is the G is the generative principle. So the generative principle is basically the other half of the law of attraction. It's the law of generation. And it's that which you give care to will then be created in life. So the way I explain it to my normie friends, when I need to explain it to them, is okay, imagine you have a field of crops, right? You have all of these crops, and you go inside, you planted all your seeds for the crops at least. You planted all your seeds and then you go inside and you're like, I hope it gets really big, I hope it gets really big, I hope it gets really big. But then you don't try and get rid of the crows, you don't water the plants, you don't do the things that get the plants. You're not stewarding the plants itself. You're not gonna get any plants. So most people think if I just think that it'll happen. Not really. You have to think and do. But it's that the thinking should allow you to, it's almost like the energy behind what you're doing. I started to see this when I coached people a lot, because I started coaching freelancers and copywriters, like how to go get clients, and like this client crushing it, this client not crushing it. And it kind of, you start thinking like, okay, is it me? Like, is this something I'm saying? Because like this guy's crushing it, but this guy's not. I started to realize that the reason why that guy was not crushing it was because his mindset was just completely fucked, right? Like he was thinking the right stuff, right? But it was that, maybe not that he was thinking the right stuff, he was attracted to the right stuff, but because he had negative thoughts behind it, and it was like, I need to get this money because I need to get away from my fear of losing my money, or I'm afraid that I'm gonna lose money, so that's why I'm working so hard, versus this guy is like, I'm gonna hit 10K a month, like I'm gonna grow, I'm gonna get this car, I'm gonna go into this, like he's like forward, forward, forward versus away, away, away. And I started to see that it's the intention that determines what you get. Thinking about something doesn't get you it. It's the intention behind it, and then doing the things which allow you to be a good steward, which attract that thing. So it's just like the more you study the stuff, where did these thoughts come from? Where are these guys pulling it from? It's almost all masonry is really what it is. But like, where did it come from? You then are able to break down the principles of it and start to realize the full dimension. It's not just law of attraction. It's law of attraction and law of generation, but then as well, law of association. Like what are the thoughts associated to this thing? That's kind of the way I view it, at least. So I don't have like a beef with it. It's just like one of those things where it's like, you can only listen to someone say it so many times before you're just kind of like, okay, I got it. You know what I mean?
Well, I was just wanted to hear how you even responded to that question, because I know you don't have necessarily that beef with it, but it's like when we talked on the phone last time, you're like, yeah, I think a lot of people explain this poorly and don't understand it to the right degree, because there are, and I'm starting to learn about this so much because our messaging is morphing so much more into manifestation. Yeah. And we have our own spin on it. And I think it's really about like educating people on what it really is, because once people understand it, it's like, it's
not a very woo thing. It's focus. Like it's literally just focus if you think about it. The reason why you see an eye as like the constant symbol of like the Illuminati and like all of this stuff, because what is an eye? It's perception and what you see. And what you see, like what we see in the world, like you choose what the intention is behind it. So like for instance, if I go out in public, let's say you and I went out to that like the place, the breakfast place right there. If we sat there and I told you, dude, I want you to say everything negative right now that you're thinking right now. Okay, everything negative. Come up with as many negative thoughts as possible. We'd be in a bad mood within about 5-10 minutes. Be like, yeah, screw that guy and screw that guy. She looks weird and that guy, right? But then if I told you, I want you to now say everything positive about the environment. Well, I see that this person, they're overweight, but they got like egg whites and they got vegetables and that's good for them. And that guy right there, he's in really good shape. And so you start to see that it's how you see the world is how the world sees you. And it's like, if you can simply just focus on that, thinking the right thoughts, the positive thoughts, and consistently make it a habit in all areas of your life, it becomes, I think, just way easier to attract what you want, because you're focused, like maybe it's just even through affirmations, or maybe it's through visualization or whatever you're doing, the thing that you want. But then if you're feeling good at all times, it just speeds up the process. So nobody talks about the feeling good process. It's just like sit there and then picture like the car and that's it. And that's great. The fastest way to get to that car, feel really good at all times and do the things that you need to be doing. So again, it's like there's different principles. You start to realize that there's more than just one. There's a lot. These are natural laws. And if you learn the natural laws, which there's a lot of them, but if you learn them, you start to realize that it's pretty simple actually. It's just about feeling good, doing good, being good, taking care of other people, and like everything else just takes care of itself.
We've drawn this metaphor that I think adheres to everything that you're saying. And it's like, how does a plant become a plant? It's created. Right? It just doesn't just appear. Yeah. Right? And I think that's where most people think that like, oh, manifestation, I think about this and it just happens. Yeah. But if you look at a plant, how does a plant become a plant? You have a seed, you put the seed in the ground, you nurture that seed with sunlight and water over a consistent period of time, and then it sprouts. Yeah. And so what you're explaining and what we always talk about is like the woo and the do. It's like the thoughts.
I liked it when you said that. I thought that was great. The woo and the do is great.
Yeah, it's really resonating with a lot of people, but it's like, what are the seeds? Those are the thoughts. Yeah. So if you're just planting seeds all the time, you're not nurturing anything, then nothing's gonna grow.
Yeah.
But then the feel good is the nurturing. It's the watering, it's the sunlight, it's the good emotions. And then the sprouting is the action, the aligned action. You're feeling good and you're taking action in that direction.
I think what you said about the woo and the do is good, because for the most part, it's like there's a positive intention behind it. But then like when you have like, I call them the ayahuasca types, like, you know, the people that do a lot of ayahuasca. Have you done ayahuasca? Yeah. The ayahuasca type, you know what I mean? Like, but you have that do with it. You know the person I'm talking about, where they have like dreads and like tattoos, and there's like 80 beads on their, like they have so many of this, and everything's about like, I'm in my essence right now. Like, my, you know, just like, it's kind of hard to like want to listen to that because you don't connect with that person. But then when you say like business owners and you know, real world people and people who are like in shape, people who, you know, don't, you know, do drugs, and people like that talk about this as well, then you see like, okay, maybe there's something here. Like maybe there's something here. I think like for me, the more I like, because I started with this stuff and then moved to Christianity, the more I started going towards the Bible and understanding what the Bible was saying, the more I was like, oh, all this makes sense. Like for instance, one principle that was like amazing that I learned about. So there's this constant thing in the Bible where it says at the right hand of God. Christ was at the right hand of God, walk on the right hand of God. What does that mean when they say the right hand of God? Well, if you look at it, the right hemisphere of your brain is the creative faculty of the brain, and God is the original creator, creativity. What they're saying with you walk on the right hand of God to allow the kingdom of God into you. All that means is that in what you're creating, you do it with the focus of God. And what does that mean? Well, then you have to define what God is. So the best definition that I have is he's all loving, all knowing, all caring. He is the all, is what we call it. And I don't think that people really like look at that concept of he's the all. Yeah, he's everything. Well, if he's everything, that means that he's love, and he's cherish, and he's like, he's positivity, he's growth, he's all of these amazing things. It's taking that into what you're doing. The Bible is just the OG personal development book. It's the first one. You can read it from like this, and I think what a lot of people maybe, and me personally, when I was first getting into it, they go to like Impact in Scottsdale, which is like a very like non-denominational church, or Pillar or Trinity or whatever. They go to these churches and they're kind of like, I don't like the music, like I'm not sure, this guy like telling me that I'm a sinner and all this type of stuff. But then it's like, if you simply remove yourself from the concept of like, really all a church is a business, like for the most part, a lot of these churches are businesses, unless you go to Orthodoxy, I'm biased there, but like most of them are still businesses. Well, okay, if you can disassociate from that and simply just look at what's being said in this, it is literally just telling you to be a good person. Like, be a good person, have God in your heart, have positivity in your actions, do that good, and you'll be great. That's it. That's literally it. And it's like, there's obviously more. It's not literally it. There's a lot more. But I think that that's the best way to view this stuff, is from the perception of like, okay, it's not just the woo people that are saying this. The Bible is saying this. I'm doing it. It's working. Like, it's real. It's not fake. It's not this woo, like, oh, you know, it doesn't make sense. It's real. It's focus. It's you create your reality. And so I don't know why people would choose to create their reality with negativity other than they've been programmed to it. If you gave someone the option to, like that, everything's positive, everyone would press that button in a heartbeat. Right. But most don't.
Well, I think it comes down to like where their subconscious is programmed from
100%.
Childhood, right?
100%.
And it just continues to perpetuate, especially in this world that we live in, where everyone's getting bombarded by so many different things. And so that's why we're so excited about the Vision Espresso, because it basically gives people a new narrative to focus on. Yeah. Because most people are just unconscious. They're just so distracted, and then because they already have these negative programs going in, they can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
So it's like, how can you change that narrative?
You hit the nail on the head with the childhood stuff. Like, that's like 90% of it, man. Like, I was just talking about that today with a client of mine. We did like a session right before this, and you know, we were discussing something that him and I had like pop up the other day, and he was saying like, I feel like everyone's like he had like a very traumatic childhood. He's like, I feel like people are trying to like fight me and kill me. And I was like, well, I haven't had that, but I do have it where for a very long time, probably around up until I was like probably around 23, I just thought everyone was out to get me. Like, I thought everyone was out to fuck me over, everyone was out to screw me over. And a lot of this came from like, that happened with my dad. Like, my mom, I didn't really have like a stable home with my mom. And so it was like, I was so addicted to chaos that like I just felt like if I'm not experiencing chaos with someone, that like it's just around the corner, you know, and this person's gonna screw me over for this. No shit that I'm attracting a lot of people that are screwing me over when I'm thinking everyone's gonna screw me over. It's like reality just confirms your beliefs at all times, no matter what. Like you're like, I think this. Reality's like, cool, here you go. Like, there you go. It's a direct correlation on that. So yeah, I think that more people would be better served if they just simply like realize that like, yes, like it's not to diminish someone's trauma or shit that they went through.
Yeah, of course.
It's I acknowledge it, but what are we doing now? Because that's done, and it's in the past. And we have to be able to let that go and grow into someone that we need to be. I have a lot of messed up shit from my childhood. I have a lot of messed up stuff from my family. Yet, I'm still able to realize that like my parents did the best that they could, everyone's always doing the best that they could, and now it's on me to become the best version of myself that I could. No one else is gonna save me. So I think the subconscious is nothing more than like the deeper thoughts that are coming from that, and you could 100% reprogram it. Like it's very programmable, 100%.
Well,
speaking of which, all right, I'm down. Yeah, this is cool.
Great timing.
Yeah, my vision espresso.
So to tee this up just a little bit, there's an intro,
okay,
and it'll ask you what is your intention for the day. Again, speaking about intentions, so speak that out loud, and then one thing that you're grateful for. After that, it'll lead you into a little bit of breath work, just like about 10 breaths, and then it'll fade right into your audio.
Okay.
Cool.
Should I like close my eyes during it?
Yeah.
Okay. I love how there's that beep going off. It's like it's like a smoke alarm, but it's not a smoke alarm.
Now, before I hand you off to your highest self, I have 3 things for you. 1, what is your intention for today? Say it out loud.
Be a conduit for wisdom.
Good. Number 2, what is one thing you're grateful for right now? Say it out loud.
Nico.
Awesome. Now 3, I want you to take 10 highly connected, highly conscious breaths. Hey Nick, it's me, it's you, the future you. I'm so excited for you to get here, to see who you've become and all you've created. Yeah, the $100,000 months and booming brand, the committed and enriching marriage, the bi-locational lifestyle between Scottsdale and Austin, the annual strategic solo flights on a private jet, the physical transformation and discipline symbolized by six-pack abs, the financial freedom and philanthropic impact in your community, and all the lives you've had a massive impact on, especially your own. Nick, you're incredible. There's absolutely no one out there like you. And as you continue to listen to that vision audio from Nico is when things really started to shift. Your journey was unfolding more beautifully than you could have ever imagined. Your mornings always began before the sun in the quiet of the Kierland Optima area. Those 4 a.m. starts were not merely routine. They were your private moments of planning and anticipation. You tread familiar paths, each step fueling your resolve for the day. Returning to the aroma of freshly brewed coffee made lovingly by your partner, you delve into Proverbs and Psalms. This sacred time deepened your bond and fortified your spirit for the challenges ahead. As daylight broke, you delved into deep creative sessions. By the early hours, you were already mapping out campaigns that would soon rocket your brand into prominence. Achieving $100,000 months became routine under your leadership as you steered your team through innovations and growth with unwavering focus and enthusiasm. Your personal life blossomed in tandem with your professional success. The intellectual and passionate connection with your partner deepened, transforming into a committed, enriching marriage. Together, you built a foundation of mutual support and intellectual stimulation, each conversation sparking new ideas and strengthening your union. Your vision of living between two homes turned into a stunning reality. The homes in Scottsdale and Austin stood as bastions of modernity and comfort, filled with art and bathed in natural light. Alternating between your Rolls-Royce and the Ford Raptor, you embodied a lifestyle of luxury and adaptability, each vehicle a fitting emblem for its environment. Those solo flights on a private jet became your annual tradition, not merely for the opulence, but for the solitude they offered. High above the clouds, you plotted the course for the coming year, your visions clear and unbounded. Below, your physical transformation into a figure of discipline, marked by six-pack abs, mirrored the strength and precision you applied to every aspect of your life. Financially, the progress was staggering. Your accounts burgeoned with millions, providing not just security, but also the means to pursue audacious dreams. You retired your mother, a gesture that brought you profound joy and relief, knowing she could finally relax and enjoy her years, enriched by comfort and peace. Your community stature grew, making you a local luminary, known for your philanthropy and leadership. The testimonials for your creator program swelled beyond 1,000, each a testament to the transformative impact of your work. Nick, I love you. I love who you are. I love who you've always been. And I love who you're constantly becoming. Now get up and make it a great day.
Dude, that was badass. That was super good. Yeah, dude, I got like kind of emotional at a few different points. I like immediately started getting choked up, and I was like, oh man, that's amazing. That's so solid. I'm even thinking about the technical component of how you did that, because I know that's like it's me, but it's not me necessarily. I didn't say all those things, but it's like I love that. That's awesome. That's a super cool thing, dude. I love that. I'm bought in. That's solid, dude. That's good stuff, man.
Thank you, man. You know, we've been working on it for the last 3 years, and
Is that Whisper that's doing it? That's doing the transcription? Or is it 11? The 11 Labs? Yeah. Oof. That was solid, dude. When it started talking to me and everything, I was like, oh, that does sound like me. I was like, oh, yeah, that's solid. That's awesome, man. I really enjoyed that. Thank you.
yeah, of course, man. Like, it's cool to just hear it from your perspective too, because like I would say we have been leaning more on like going in the direction of the woo, and it's like I feel like you bring this more of like the masculine side that's not in the like just visualize your thoughts.
I think that's a great way to put it, is that there has to be a balance of masculine and feminine. Like I said, like feminine is receiving, but like masculinity is about penetrating the world, and like literally from like a sexual component too. Like it correlates to the woman receives, and man penetrates. Like that's how it works.
Absolutely.
So it's like that's how it works in the real world. I think that for me, the feminine, you can get too into that, but just like that, you can also get too into the masculine. That's why I like to balance both. Like I allow time with myself where I allow those thoughts to come to me. I say my affirmations out loud. While I was driving over here, I was doing affirmations the entire time. I'm saying it and speaking it out into the world. That's more masculine. But then as well, when I visualize and allow the thoughts to come to me, or even just like this, allowing that audio to come to me and process through my brain, like you have to be able to have those checkpoints in. I think if every day is just like go, and no level of allowing and attracting and you know, having it come to you, I don't think that really leads to a lot of success. I think that leads to a lot of frustration. Yeah, a lot of frustration for sure.
Well, I mean, where the woo and do came from me is because I was never into this stuff, and I was just always hustle, grind, go.
Yeah.
And I got burnt out of that, and then that had me swinging all the way to the other side, and I was meditating a lot.
Yeah.
And that's all I was doing, and then my bank account was like, yo, dude.
100%. Yeah.
And so it's about finding that balance. And like you said earlier, it's like feeling good while you're taking your actions. And that's what I feel like right now. I was having a deep conversation about this last night is I feel like right now I'm in a very aggressive building phase, and I have been for the last like year.
Yeah.
I mean, practically 3 years. But I feel like lately, even though like all I'm doing is working, I'm very present with that, and I'm feeling good around that. And I feel like it's a huge blessing to have that realization, and now that's how I'm operating. And the more that I can just operate and feel good with being excited about what I'm building, that's combining that woo and do, and it's having that balance where like you do good, you feel good, and you're getting great
you're
results.
tapped in, man. Like you're tapped into the core, the all, you know. And I think that for a lot of people, they get so lost in the build. You're in the world when you're doing that. There's I think it's Saint Isaac the Syrian. So like for people who don't know, like this is often weird for people, but like in Orthodoxy and in Catholicism, like we have saints, and it's not that you worship the saints, it's that you learn about the saints and learn more about yourself through learning about them. Just like how you read an autobiography about a business owner and then learn about yourself through that process and also who that person is. That's what we do with the saints as well. Saint Isaac the Syrian was talking about the world, and he says the world consists of the passions, right? Fear, greed, rancor, resentment, like all these things are the passions, but when we just want to call it one thing, we call it the world. And so it's like when you're so caught up in the world and you're not tapped in to what is, again, like the all, God, in my opinion, which is that positivity, I just think that you get like really, really like, it just becomes bleak. Like it's like nothing matters at that point. Like you start to ask yourself, is my life really just waking up and working in a box basically for like 12 hours straight, and then like maybe eating some food and working out and then coming back? But see what I mean about the negativity versus the positivity? You view it that way, it's going to become that.
Exactly.
Versus if you look at it as like, I'm so grateful for the fact that I get to focus how amazing is the position that I'm in. I can focus all of my time on the thing that I want to do today. And the only thing I want to do is I want to build this. You go into the day with a completely different level of energy than like I have to do this. You know, you get to do this, bro. You know, and I think that that's the big thing with entrepreneurs is we like enslave ourselves almost and like trap ourselves in this thing when it's like, you chose this.
Exactly.
And same with people that maybe are watching us that are 9 to 5, like you chose that, you know, and there's beauty in that, you know, there's definitely beauty in that.
I can keep going.
I can too, bro. I'm not.
I would actually love to I think we could definitely come back to the Bible, but I would love to hear just even a little bit more about your business and what you're focusing and what you're excited about creating with the 4 creators. It's 4 creators, is that?
Yeah. So, for me, I just look at it like what people actually need nowadays. Like you don't need another business how-to program. The reason why masterminds became more prevalent and why people are selling more masterminds now is because people don't need how-to business. There's plenty of how-to business programs. Now there's like 6-hour courses on YouTube. There's tons of information out there. What you want is the ability to interact with someone and be able to ask them questions about your business. But then the question becomes, the question becomes, who are you asking for help? What results does that person have? And I think that we've created I call it the fake guru crisis, right? The authenticity apocalypse, right? Trump's doing the same thing just with politics. It's the exact same thing that I'm saying though, is we exist in a lot of lies right now. And people are lying. There's a lot of one-hit wonders who then act like, you know, experts and do all this stuff. And even like what I said earlier, guys who maybe got, like let's say they did really good on growing on Instagram, but then they're acting like they're business owners and like trying to give business advice, and then people are having to unlearn the crap that they learned from these people. And so I don't think that anyone was really making a concerted effort to get real experts that are vetted, that are proven, that like actually have that. Like I don't even vet all the guys that get on our platform. It's my mentor, Ron, who's done 6.5 billion in sales. He's basically the frickin' president of Austin, in my opinion. He's the guy behind, remember Billy Mays from OxyClean?
Yeah.
Everything from Billy Mays, that's Ron. He did that. GoPro, like literally the videos where it was the camera and the guy's showing himself and then he's like bombing down a hill. Ron came up with that concept and named it as well, the Hero. Like he's so smart, dude. One of the things he did is he put on the ad, available at Best Buy. It was not available at Best Buy. All the people started going to Best Buy and saying like, I want a GoPro. And they'd be like, what the fuck is that? We don't have that. And then they put in an order from GoPro because they were like, we're having like 100 people.
Demand.
Yeah, they're like 100 people at every location per week coming in and saying that. So he's doing that, and it's like this guy, to me, he's my mentor. He's the closest thing I feel like outside of my stepfather that like I've had of like a father in my life who's patient with me and like wants to help me grow, and especially like leads me towards like the right decisions and being the right person. He vets everyone. So like I come with him, like we had someone that we wanted to bring on the platform, and I was just like, okay, well we got to go to Austin, and so we got to go meet Ron. So like there needs to be some level of vetting. Just like how if you want to go teach at Harvard, there's a committee. Yeah. We don't have that in info right now. So I think that a lot of people are getting past this and like they go towards someone's community and it's like no one's vetted that person though. So I wanted to be able to give people access to vetted business owners, and really what that does excuse me, one, you're gonna make more money. Like, you are the average of the 5 people you hang around. I don't believe that. You are the average of the 5 people you allow to influence you. And so you should be very particular on who you let influence you. So you not only make more money, you solve problems a lot better, you become a better leader, you're surrounding yourself with people who are masters in certain areas, just like how Da Vinci was a master of sculpture, of lighting, of drawing, of engineering, of architecture, all these things. You start to be around people who are masters in one area, and so you can start learning from these different areas, because most people are very one-dimensional. And they don't realize that that's what you can't be one-dimensional. You'll die if you're one-dimensional in business. This is the silly thing that I think Sam Ovens downloaded into the market. Like, oh, you should just be one-dimensional. You focus on one thing and that's it. That's not possible. Like, and I don't think that he intentionally did that. I think that people misinterpreted it. You have to have the other skills, the business, the finance, understanding how to manage people, understanding how to do sales, understanding how to do marketing. Like, you have to know all these things. Well, if you were to go and want to learn all those things, and you needed to go hire experts, I ran the numbers. I texted all my guys that are creators, and we call them mentors or coaches inside of our program. And I said, how much would a one-on-one session cost? And then over the course of a month with all these guys, just for one call, literally one call, it would be $6,800. So over the course of 3 months, that's what, 18, close to 20K just about. Well, what I give people access to is 3 months of that for like a fraction of that price. And if you want to go deeper with someone, like you want to learn one-on-one from the person that you like really resonated with on their call, then go hire them, go do their stuff. Like, I don't believe in greed and that like my customers, my ecosystem, like no one can grow. I think that people are going to spend their money wherever they want. It's never your customer, it's just your turn to sell them something. And if they want to continue with you, they do. If they want to go somewhere else, they go somewhere else. So I just wanted to give people access to real experts, like people that I know, I vetted them, but then also we have like someone who's even further ahead than me vet them as well. And it's just created something that in its own right, the guys who we just launched last week, like literally, like we were building up hype for 3 months. And then we launched last week. We had our first call this week inside of the program. And all the guys were like, that was amazing. Because like, your problems. If you really think about it, like, okay, let's just say your problem is like, I don't know what to post about online, okay? Do you need to go through 6 hours of course material to figure out how to do that online? No, you should just ask someone, I don't know what to post online. And they go, oh yeah, so here's what you do. Here's how I do this in AI. You just do that, send this over, I record these, and that's it, boom. And then if you're smart and can actually take rapid action, which all my best clients, every single one, like I had a guy who worked with me within 1 week made 40 grand. Just from, like I told him, sling this, do that deal, and just put it to your previous clients, boom, 40K. And it was just like, that's the person you need to be. Someone gives you feedback and you go and execute immediately. The difference between a beginner and someone who's growing and becoming an expert and starting to like get from that beginner to intermediate to expert stage is the time delay between thought or concept and action. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to give people a place where they can feel confident knowing that the thoughts they are getting are the best, like hands down, the best in that category, and then just go take action immediately on it. So it's not a program for people that just that just need like soft, feel-good shit. Yeah. This is a program for someone that's like, I'm ready to take action aligned with my business and who I am, while as well it not just being about business. Like we have a whole holistic set of people. We have a guy who talks about offers, a guy who talks about marketing, that's Ron, the 6.5 billion guy. A guy who talks about marketing. We have a guy who talks about purpose, identity, branding. Like we're gonna keep bringing in specific topics on this thing and keep expanding the program as we keep growing. But the whole point is that you could just go to someone who's an expert, get the thing you need, go take action. If that's not something you're capable of doing, then it's not for you. It's probably not for most people, and I'm not trying to build something for everyone. I'm trying to build something for people that are ready to grow, that really want to change. And I don't think that's not B2C BizOp, make money online and stuff like that. I've done programs like that, very unfulfilling. Because those people most of the time just need mindset help. They don't they're not even ever gonna do the biz op. They kind of just join for like a little it's 75 hard for them. Maybe I'll make an online business. You know, I don't want to do that.
What are the typical offers that your clients have?
So we have a good array of like service-based businesses. So agency owners, freelancers. There's coaches. There's consultants in there. There's some people that have digital products as well that sell digital products. But yeah, it's mainly going to be people that operate inside of what I call the creator economy. Other people call it the wisdom economy. But the creator economy to me is you are building something and then you're building a brand alongside it as well. So whatever your business is, and then you have a personal brand or a brand for that alongside it, you're a creator. Because you're creating a business and you're creating a brand. So like, you know, most people think like with these ring lights right here, like a creator is like a girl who's like reviewing a product online. Well, why do we call her a creator? Because she's creating content. So if you create content around what you're doing, you're a creator. If you just do a business, maybe you're a creator. I would say you're more of a builder. You're just building because you're not creating and documenting the process and everything like that. Yeah.
High ticket?
Yeah.
Most of your stuff?
Yeah, I was doing low ticket. Like last time I saw you when I was at that SIP, I was doing low ticket, and I like low ticket. I just don't like the commitment that comes with low ticket from people. I like people who are bought in. Like I'm a bought in, I'm all in. Like I like all in. So for me, I like people that are all in. I naturally do better with those people. And I was like legit for like $100 a month. Like we have all this stuff, and then I'm checking people. Like people would buy the thing for $100, be in the program for 5 months, and watch like 1% of the stuff. And I was just like, I literally put a tweet out on Twitter where it was like, X, now the platform is X. I deleted $100,000 worth of annual revenue from Skool. I canceled everyone's subscription. And I did a whole thing where like Alex Hormozy's pissed at me. It was like him calling me. Like we legit like changed my contact for one of my friends to Alex Hormozy. And then it said not Alex Hormozy at the top. He's calling me. I'm like, Alex, no, look, dude, it's just not good for business. I just don't like Skool. Look, no. And then he's like crying and they go, no, Alex, don't get upset. Delete Skool and everything. But like genuinely, I was just like, I don't like this business model. It's super lame. Like for some people, it may be awesome so they can get to 20K, 30K, and that's what they want. They like low ticket. They want to grow that. I don't have anything a problem with the business, with the model itself. When I say lame, I mean for me. I like high ticket. I like the sales calls. I like getting people through a program. I like people who are all in and committed right then and there. Maybe down the road we'll do low ticket and we'll do subscriptions, but like I don't want to touch it. Like I'll build stuff, but we need to have someone manage that. I really like interacting and hosting the people that are just like all in. I had a guy who legit like, we got on a call and he was just like, I'm ready to go. I don't even care what the price is on it. And I was just like, cool. Well, that's pretty cool. Like I like people that are like that all in, don't care. How much is it? Awesome. Can I finance? Yeah, boom, do it right then and there. Like those are my favorite people because they're just, like it's a microcosm of the macrocosm. They're all in, and so as a result, they get the best results. And like, if you just want to get better results for clients, just charge more. That's at least how I view it.
And what help me understand like where are a lot of your clients at when they come in?
Yeah.
And what kind of results do they get after being in for you said it's a 3-month program?
Yeah. So, you know, the way to view it is that like each person's unique in their own way, but it's going to revolve around either like clients, getting more clients, charging more, building your brand, like all around just like growing your business. And people have different stages of where their business is at. So it's like the way I view it is like every person's gonna have the same problems. It's just the flavor of the problem is gonna change, right? Mm-hmm. So for everyone, for the most part, it's like, I want more clients. I want better clients. But for one person, the reason why they want better clients is because they're in a toxic relationship with the client right now and they don't wanna work with this person anymore. For the other person, it's that they have 4 clients, but they're really overwhelmed with all the work. And so they wanna be able to get out of that and, you know, perform better or whatever. So like, it all, you think about it, every business program just revolves around money. They just want to make more money. So the whole thing is like, you come in, we solve your problems, you do the things that we're telling you to do, you will make more money. There's no way where if you talk to 5 business owners, all of them are doing a minimum of 7 figures a year. Like I am the one that is doing the least amount of money in the entire group. Like everyone is doing 7 figures or 8 figures a year. And you talk to these people on a weekly basis that your business does not grow. The only way it doesn't grow is if you don't do what the fuck they're telling you to do. So it's like a clear mirror of the problem you're running into. I stopped doing the programs where people don't take action. I'll just kick someone out and refund them. Like it's just, I don't care for that. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people don't mind and they just kind of like, that's the part of business right there. Cool. If you want to run a business that way, run a business that way. I'm trying to change people's lives. And so if that means that I need to be a dick sometimes and like be very aggressive on sales calls and like set boundaries, so be it. I need to protect the integrity of my group and my guys. I don't want to do anything else. I'll buy it, but I'll write a book and buy the book. Yeah. Books are great for that. It's parasocial at that point, yeah.
It's what?
Parasocial. Parasocial is when you have a relationship with me, but I don't have a relationship with you. So if I had like 1,000 books that I just gave out to people and they all read it and like loved me and everything, but I didn't know who they are, it's parasocial. Huh. So like social media, the whole thing is you're just creating parasocial relationships. I want social relationships with people that, like, I'm trying to create my own echo chamber. And people will be like, oh, that's not, you know, you shouldn't do that or whatever. You should like allow diverse opinions into your ecosystem. Nope. I know all the opinions. Like at the age of like 25, like you should know the opinions of the world of stuff. Pick the ones that you want, surround yourself with those people. I'm not saying to be closed off when other people have other opinions, but like why would, if I believe in hard work, purpose, and dedication, why would I ever want to associate with someone who does not believe in that? You know what I mean? Like, what's the point? So the program's just a reflection of that. It's like the thing that got me the results that I got was I was a really good student and I just took fucking immediate action on everything that I got taught. That's what that program gives you the ability to do. Do you have the cojones to do it though? You know, that's what we help them do. And so it's like, that's why I serve as the host. It's kind of almost like the mindset coach to help them like navigate through it, understand where they're at and everything, and just be able to show them like, this is maybe something what you're not seeing right here. I think you should go towards this, go to that curriculum. Because the way we have it is it's like, you know, you have curriculum, you have access and support. I'm the support curriculum. That's just like material that we have inside of there. And then access, like you're getting on calls on a weekly basis with these guys. So it's allowing you to be able to interact with them and again, get specific feedback on what you need. Like we just did ours on branding. Our guy Dakota, he has 500,000 followers across Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube. And he, on top of being good at growing on platforms, he makes great money too. So a lot of guys are really good at growing on social, not good at making money on it. So it's like that guy is the person that should be teaching that, not the guy who knows how to like shake his ass on Instagram and get like quick likes, cheap attention and everything like that.
Guys shaking ass on?
100%.
Really?
100%. Yeah, these dudes doing these TikTok dances with their girlfriends, disgusting, bro. Like I would never do that. I've never seen that. Never do it in a million years. I saw it the other day. I sent it to my buddy. We were both just like this, like we're so down bad right now. Yeah, not good. Not good. It's very bad.
No,
yeah,
that's not good.
I'm just imagining the day, like, I feel like it's a test. Like your woman eventually is gonna put the TikTok dance thing in front of you and you just have to, like, you have to pass the test. You have to, no, I don't wanna do that. No. I'll take a picture with you, maybe even a video, but I'm not doing the TikTok dance. Yeah, bad. It's bad. It's like you like throwing your manhood out. If a girl wants to do it, sure, go for it, right? It's like, cute, whatever.
Well, I mean, that even comes back to the conversation of masculine versus feminine. Like those are, maybe she doesn't even realize she's doing it, but those are like tests to see how you stand firm in your masculine energy. 100%. And when you start breaking down from that masculine energy, she trusts you less.
She doesn't, and it's like, this is the hard part, I think, for a lot of women to wrap their head around, and guys as well, is like, she's not intentionally doing it.
Right.
It's just, that's her nature. That's what it is. It's always testing. Even like, okay, so like, for instance, every guy has had it if they've had a serious relationship where the girl all of a sudden is just upset. She's just upset. She's like, she's hangry. She's just kind of like a little cold or whatever. Like your job there is to not be affected at all by the fact that she's upset or she's, you know, doesn't change how you act. You're not like, why are you upset? And nothing I could do is ever right for you. Oh, like you can't do that. That's not what it is. You're supposed to just be unfazed by it. You are the rock. Even while the storm is happening and all that, like you are who you are.
Yeah.
And I think that's easier said than done when things are being said. Yeah. But that's the purpose of it. She's not consciously like, I'm gonna break him down so I fall out of love with him. Like, that's psychopathic talk that you think that they're saying that. That's not what's happening. It's just that's in their nature. Just like man's nature is to go conquer, to build, to grow. Mm-hmm. Woman's nature is to test and to see that. Like even little things like with texting and stuff like that. Like when I think that was, I mean, we're talking about women now. It's like where the podcast is going with women. I love women. And like Trump, nobody loves women more than me. Like nobody's more respectful towards them than me. But like genuinely, like I love women because women are such an amazing mirror for men. And like, oh, I don't understand why I'm attracting girls like this. And then it's like, because you're thinking the thoughts that are allowing you to attract that. And then you simply change the thoughts and you see the women that come into your life completely change. Then as well, when you have the committed partner, I don't understand why she's acting like this. And then you realize that sometimes it's actually nothing to do with you, but it could be something you said, something that happened, something you could have been better. It softens you as well. Like a good woman will soften you a little bit. That's why it's like, I think it's kind of funny, like a woman kind of will like, she wants to go get sweets and like she'll make you pastries or like a scone or whatever. Like she'll be doing that type of stuff. Like if you think about it, like what's a masculine meal? Like steak, yes. Potatoes, mm-hmm. Like that's a masculine meal, right? A feminine meal would be like tea and crumpets and like cookies and whatnot, right? Like a tea thing, you know? all she's doing is just like she's bringing that femininity into your life, and I think you have to allow it, but at the same time also realize that like if you go too far into it, she falls out of love with you because that's not who you're supposed to be. The reason she fell in love with you in the first place is because you were driven, you were focused, you were on a mission, like they could tell, you know. And so many guys, like, have you ever read Corey Wayne's How to Be a 3% Man?
I've never read it, but I know what you're talking about.
It's a great book. I think that it's a good baseline for guys to operate by. I'm not a huge proponent of like casual stuff. Like I think you should find a committed partner and go for that and do that type of stuff. But Corey's kind of appealing to all guys because, you know, maybe you want marriage, maybe another guy wants this, like whatever it is, right? But Corey just explains it so perfectly that like most guys just like, they ain't got stuff going on, you know? So they're always texting her, they're always wanting to be with her at all times. But like, that's not how men operate. Like you're supposed to be on your mission. Like you should be on your mission consistently. That's what creates that like polarity. And even just with people, like I haven't seen you in a while and I'm like, fuck yeah. I'm just like, I'm excited to be you. Now imagine that like I've seen you every single day for the past 365 days. It'd just kind of be like, just another day with Nico, right? So you have to create that little bit of space and distance and everything there. Yeah, I mean, this is one of my like favorite topics. I love talking about women. Like,
that sparked something I recall. Is like, when I was in a relationship, one of my relationships a couple years ago, it was like she started wanting to like hang out all the time, and you know, I went through phases of like being more in my masculine versus not in that relationship, but there was a time when she was always wanting to be around me, and then I intentionally said like, no, we need to create times so that we can miss each other. Because if you don't have that polarity, then they're not gonna continue to have that attraction towards one another.
yeah.
Just like what you said with like, if you're always spending time, you don't give yourself that space to miss each other.
100%. I think it's very necessary, and it's someone that's mature that can accept that and say, you're right, I do think that's true. And that person should have their own stuff going on. Like I've had it before where I've had girlfriends who had nothing going on. And it's just like they were always wanting something and needing something at all times. And it's like, you know, you want to provide as a man, but then you realize like this is actually like diminishing what I'm trying to do because I constantly need to make sure whether or not this person's good or okay because they have nothing going on. It's like they're just on Instagram all day long. If that's what you want, go for it. But like for me, like I want someone who like we could spend like a week apart and she's not like, you know, just out of her mind. Like, I can't believe I haven't seen you or anything like that. She should be busy as well. And then I think what happens is that's like the season for dating, but then the season for marriage is different, and the season for, you know, growing old or having kids. And these are all seasons for it. So the season for dating, I think, is very different than the season for marriage. At that point, you are always together because it's your wife. You've bonded in union that way. Yeah.
So what's your perspective on dating right now?
Like the market right now, the dating market?
Not necessarily the market, but like what's your
like how do I
your
view
approach
it?
or just like your mindset towards dating and women?
So I think like context is necessary for this because I think that you have to like realize it from the right frame. So like plenty of people are really good at diagnosing problems, but they can't give the prescription to the problem because they don't understand it. Like they understand, like it's like what's his name? Rollo Tomassi. Like Rollo Tomassi wrote a great book. It's called the Rational Male. And he did a great job of diagnosing the problem, did an awful job of prescribing it because like you just look at him, like the physiognomy doesn't lie. You look like a bitter old dude who got a divorce and had this happen and bop, 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 bop. Don't take advice from that person. Of course it's biased. Everyone's opinion is biased. So for me, I was like, okay, well, I don't want to listen to these guys, like the red pill guys and all that type of stuff. Most of them are sad, divorced, had these negative things happen to them in their life. And that's not the person you should listen to. To me, I started looking at the people who had successful relationships and people that had marriages who are on their, even though they married this person, they never got divorced, they had a very good family, all that. I started listening to those people. And for me, I like just look at it as, if you don't though go out and do I call it for men the cowboy era, where you're just kind of like, you know, like, you're
running and gunning.
You're running and gunning. You know, you're going on dates. You know, you're seeing multiple women. Like you're doing that thing, and you're being that man. I don't think you ever get it out of your system. So people will say like, you know, you once you go in, you never go back, whatever. I don't believe that. I think eventually, like, if your heart is in the good place, right, and you are seeing multiple women and you're dating and everything, eventually, like as a man, it is biologically, like literally, it is part of your soul to want to long for a partner who you can connect with on a soul level. People will put this bullshit out there where it's like, well, you know, all animals have like, there's one male that has like all of the females, right? There's one alpha and he has all the females. And I'm like, I'm glad that you haven't evolved past monkey stage yet and that you can't like consciously think as an individual. That's how most people view that in the red pill space. So for me, what I think is like most guys who just get it out of their system, go date, go do the thing, go be the, you know, the playboy and go do all that stuff. Once you're ready to get out and grow up and be an adult, I think then from there it's about like finding the right partner and finding the person that you can spend the rest of your life with, that you can have kids with, that you can set up a kingdom with. That to me is the difference between being a prince and being a king. The king has a queen. The prince is like kind of, you know, the prince doesn't have a queen. The prince just kind of has the various court women, I don't know what the fuck it was called back then, court maids or something like that, right? The handmaids or whatever. He has the different women in his life, whereas a king has a queen. So for me, I think that what a man should do is get it out of his system, realize that like, okay, like yes, these are fun scenarios, it's great. Because then I think what happens is you come from a good place and that you understand women, you know how to do it, like you have game, you know how to talk to women, you know how to act with women. If the thing I struggle with is like, as a Christian man, like I have friends that are virgins and they've never done anything, and I just see them fuck everything up with women consistently. And it's like, it's hard because I'm like, if you haven't done that and you don't know how women act, and it's literally no more than like reps. Like you've seen the things, you know, oh, when she texts this, what she really means is this. She did this, what she really means is that. Yeah. Like if you don't have the reps, then when the real person comes, it's gonna be really difficult to navigate it. You're gonna fuck up a bunch. Mm-hmm. So I say get the reps, understand women, do that. And then from there, like find the woman that you wanna settle down with and have kids with that person. Like as fast as possible, have kids. Obviously like through getting to marriage and all that type of stuff. But like, I think we're very hesitant to have kids. I totally understand it from some people and like just finding the right person. But I believe that like you should find the person you want to have kids with. That's to me the main, like the barometer of, do I want to be with this person or not? Can I have kids with them? If I can't have kids with them, probably not a good person I should be with, you know?
What our genes mix and make a
good baby.
Good offspring.
Yeah, not even just genes, but like, do I trust you to raise this? It was very sad, man. I had she was a great girl. I really did like her, but I found out more about her family. And I found out, you know, just a lot of like negative stuff about her family. Like I found out that her mom has like relapsed a bunch of times on crack. I found out that her dad had been to prison like multiple times. She has a bunch of siblings, just like all of this crazy stuff. Found out more about her friend group, like all this stuff. She's a good girl, but then all this stuff is not positive. Okay, I don't want to have kids with that person because my son is gonna have to go over to their house and I don't want to have to deprogram my son. So like even with my mom and everything, like, you know, I'm comfortable leaving my kid there because I know my mom's, even if he's 3, 4, she's not gonna program him with any negative crap. I don't wanna have to deal with that. So I wanna find someone that I fully trust, that I could leave my kid around you. And I know that that kid's gonna come back happy, positive, enlightened, grown, right? Like not like I'm gonna have to worry about what did grandma say to him around while he was there. So I think that's the barometer for whether or not you should be with someone is, do you wanna have kids with them? If you don't wanna have kids with them, like, just admit what it is. It's just fun. That's fine. If you want fun, go for fun. I don't shame anyone for relationships and what they're doing. Like, that's such a personal thing that like, that's like me shaming someone like, you like Mustangs, bro? What the fuck? Like, right? Like, I think that's what you want. That's your preference. Just like how on menus, there's multiple items, right? I think people should have their preferences. If you want to do the poly thing, go for that. If you want to go and have, you know, multiple partners, like when you're just dating around, if you want to be single, if you want to find someone and get married and you want to do that, all these different options are great options. And I just kind of look at it like, pick the thing that makes the most sense for you. What do you want right now? What does your heart desire the most? And go into it fearlessly.
I think that's a great point. Is like, what does your heart tell you?
100%. And it'll tell you the truth. Yeah.
Even like dating, but everything. So I think, you know, with us doing this work, a lot of times people, I think in beginning stages, just like what you were talking about in the beginning of like, I wanted the car, I wanted the watch.
It starts material and then it moves spiritual usually.
Because then it's like, in that phase, it's more of like this like 2-year-old want energy of like, I don't have this, so I want it.
Yeah.
Rather than like, what does God have for me? What 100%. Is the desire that he has for me?
100%. And
the more that you can step into that, then the more you're just led from it and you're not wasting time. But again, it's whatever is for you. Because I think that is the case. I think we live in a very shaming society where people
100%.
are like, this is the way it's supposed to be. Even with like Christianity, is like, I kind of, because coming back to what you were talking about with Impact, I think it's a great church, and I've really resonated with quite a bit. But there has been some times there where I hear some people like getting very preachy and saying, this is what the Bible says, and this is what you need to do, and then if you're not, then
yeah, I call it Bolshevik Christians. So it's like they're beating you over the head with their cross, but then like that's not what Christianity is supposed to be.
Oh.
Yeah, like Christ was legit hanging out with prostitutes, hookers, drug dealers, like negative people, murderers. And it wasn't because he was hanging around and like, yeah, these are my guys, right? Like, those are my boys. It's like he's trying to save these people. So if even the perfect man was around these people, you can't be around them, you can't accept them. To me, I look at it as like most people are trying to attack the person instead of the behavior. And like accepting does not mean that we say like, this is right, you should do that. No, it's just, this is where you are, and that's okay. And that's who you are, and I am who I am, and I'm gonna believe what I believe, and if you choose not to believe that, that's okay. Most of the Christians also that say, this is what the Bible says, okay, like women will do this all the time, this is what the Bible says. The Bible also says that women shouldn't really talk. So if we're gonna talk about the Bible saying everything, why don't we pull it completely out the gate? Because are we talking New Testament, Old Testament? Like, there's a lot of stuff here. As much as I love the intention for people to want to be in church and want to go towards that, I think most people would be better served allowing their own interpretation of it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like the church is good, but the church is nothing more than like, it is a community of people. So like, we went, I'm not going to say the name of the church because I know that there's local people that may go there. We went to one, it's not Impact, but we went to one locally. And I walked in, it was my friend that was like, I go in support of my friends most of the time. I want to be there with them, I want to spend time with them, I want them to feel like I have my friend here with me, like we're all feeling good. Like I go if I'm going to a non-denominational church, because I'm Orthodox and I go to an Orthodox church. But when my friends invite me, I'm happy to go to that. And so we go to this church, and I sit down, the guy gets on stage and is like, we're building like a water park in the back of the church, and if you don't donate, like you're not tithing. I'm like, I don't think the tithing is supposed to be for a frickin' water park, dog. Like that's not what it should be. It was to like support the monks to be able to have like food in the frickin' church. That's what it originally was, and to be able to give back to something in the acts that they're doing. So we're building this water park in the back, and if you're not tithing, like guys, just tithe just put it on recurring. Like literally just automatic, do it all the time, don't do that. And then he's like saying, his wife, he's like, it's our anniversary. She's put up with me for 17 years, guys. And then like all the guys are doing that. And immediately I was just kind of sitting there like, no, I don't think this is my church right here, but I'm gonna be very patient because my friends are here. Then they're like, and I thought that was the pastor. It's not the pastor. Then the pastor is like, they're like, oh, he's out of town right now, so we're gonna play you guys a recording. I was like, a what? What do you mean the pastor's out of town? They lower the screen, and it's legit like the movie is playing. Like there's two TVs and like a screen lowering, and it's like all this like dun 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 dun, dun. Like bro, it legit looked like a VSL. It was like depression at all-time lows, like suicide rates increasing, and it's just like all this stuff popping up. And I was like, am I in a webinar right now? What's going on? Guy gets on, he starts saying the day of reckoning is coming, your judgment is coming. He's just yelling at everyone. I legit just went, I got my head out. I just got up and left. And it's funny enough, when I got to the lobby, one of the friends that was with me, there was like 7 of us that was at this thing. The other one, he was like, yeah, Nick, I'm out. He's like, I'm gonna go with you. I was like, okay, cool. We went straight to an Orthodox church right after, because I was like, I need to go home. Yeah. And we were there, and he was with me, and he was like, this is like very different. And I was like, this is the OG church, bro. Like, this is what church was in the year like 5. It wasn't all that. I get it that it's more relatable for people to go to something like Impact, where there's music, there's Christian rock, the pastor's wearing off-white, like he's wearing all the cool stuff and everything, and that people can relate with that. Me personally, I think I relate more with Orthodoxy, 1, because I'm Eastern European, but 2, because like I feel holy when I walk in there. I feel like I'm in the presence of something way bigger than me. And if that's what someone gets from going to church, it's the same thing with the woman thing, with like how your relationships are set up in your life. I'm not gonna judge that person.
Right.
Go do your thing. Like, I had a stint where I was Muslim, bro. I was like Muslim for like 4 months. I read the Quran. I was like, oh, I like experiments. I like doing stuff like that. So I was just Muslim. I went to a masjid, which is like the mosque, every single day for 3 months, 4 months. and prayed constantly. I got a lot from Islam. I then came back to Christianity because I believe Christianity more. And for me, it was like, I can still though be friends with Muslim. My Muslim friends love how much I know about the Quran. They're like, whoa, like that's really interesting that you know about that. Like I'm the only white boy that they've like ever met that like understands their book and their religion. That's amazing, man. So I think that you should be open-minded to other people's perspectives on that, but also be very confident when you say like, this is the right perspective to have. This is the one that I have. Mm-hmm. So of course I believe it's the right one to have, and being unashamed of that.
Yeah, and for you. And I think that's the case for everybody.
Yes.
Like, how can everybody tap into what's meant for them?
100%.
Whether that's church, whether that's whatever scripture you want to read, whatever person you want to be with.
As long as it doesn't encroach on others. If the second it goes wrong is when you start encroaching on others. Because like we have this, there's this great thing from, you know, Shannon Sharp, the guy. He was like, in the Bible it says turn the other cheek. I ain't in there. And he said that, and I thought it was so great because it's like you can't like, if you're encroaching on me, like let's say your belief is that you shouldn't be able to practice Christianity. Okay, now we have a problem because I'm not encroaching on yours. That to me is where I think most people go wrong. Christians especially. You can't think that, you should do that. You're going to hell, you're going to do that. That's a great way to bring them in, 100%. Good job, dude. Like I have a good friend of mine who, the same church I'm talking about, that did the screen lowering and all that stuff. They shamed him because he's in a premarital relationship with someone. Like they live together, do all that. They were shaming him and saying that you can't get baptized until you do that. And I was just like, that's not how baptism works, first of all, and shame on you for saying that to someone. I get the purpose of what they're doing, like I understand it, but at the same time also, like that's completely out, like yes, the Bible says that right there, but on top of that also, Christ was legit blessing prostitutes and saying that they are more holier than the freaking, the Pharisees who were like the priests of Judaism. Mm-hmm. He was saying that the prostitute was more holy than her because she was worshiping him. So it's like, you take all these things into account and you just realize like, I think what most people are dealing with in terms of religion and everything is, again, like what we said earlier with like trauma and everything like that. It's their own trauma for their own experience in their own life, them being transmuted through their beliefs towards other people and everything like that. So they feel the need to, like I said, become a Bolshevik Christian where they're banging people over the head with the cross. This is the way to do it. That's a zero way to attract someone to Christianity. The best way to attract someone to Christianity is they're like, whoa, this person has it all. And they constantly revere Christ. That then creates the curiosity of, who is this person? What is that? You can't shame someone into believing your thing. And if so, they're not going to stay for long.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that's why so many people start losing faith. And they start venturing out. And I feel like that was definitely the journey that I was on. It was like, why are you judging me? Like, isn't the point to like love everybody?
Yep.
So it's really been refreshing because I've been a part of a Bible study recently that it's like, it's not about, hey, we're going to tell you what the Bible says. We're going to read the Bible and you're going to decipher what it's saying to you. What's God talking to you about? What does he want for you? And what does he want you to start, stop, or sustain doing so that your life can get better?
Yeah. Well, I think that like I see both points, and I think that's a very valid way to think about like what we were saying about channeling. Like, what is speaking to you from what you're saying? That's very useful. Yeah, it does matter at the same time what the Bible says. Like, we do need to accept that. It is important what the Bible says. However, at the same time, it's like understanding the context of stuff. Like I think about the thing with like a woman shouldn't talk is like one of the things there. Okay, well that was like the year 8, you know? So it's like a little bit different than now.
Things shifted a little bit since then.
There's a great Louis C.K. bit where he's like, you know, the year 5 was not the year 5. He's like, because no one was walking around, what year is it? 5. Well, I'm 40. So like, what is this? But I think though that like what you were saying with what does the Bible say? I think the whole purpose is like, there's kind of 2 ways you can do it. The Bible says this, shame, 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 right? Versus the Bible says this, okay, well, how do I feel about this? Okay, well, is it that it's what I believe, what I want, because you can easily justify your beliefs on it, or is it that the Bible is telling me this for a blessing? It's not for punishment. Most people assume that everything's for punishment. I don't believe God is in any way, shape, or form punishing towards us. He's punishing towards Satan. I think he's loving towards us and caring and accepting and forgiving for us. And so I think that really like, okay, so like for instance, no sex before marriage. People think that's like for men to suffer, or like it's like a negative thing, right? If you have sex before marriage, like you're going to hell, you're doing that. By the way, hell's not real, everybody. There's that. But like, so if you think that you're going to hell, when like really what it is no, if you do this though, if you actually wait in a relationship until you are married and bonded and have done that, and don't allow sex to enter until it is through like your commitment to this person for the rest of your life, that's a blessing that you get. Whether you choose to accept the blessing or not is on you. And so I think that to me is that's the journey I think people should go on. Not on this whole like holier than thou, this is the route you need to do, and if you don't do this, like you're sinning and going to hell. I'm just kind of like, when you realize like that's not how, to me, that's not how God operates. Yeah. That's so conditional. If you do this, I'll love you. Yeah. Who, like, think about if someone did that to you, like as a person. If I told you, Nico, I'm only gonna be your friend if you do this. You wouldn't want to be my friend. No. So same thing with God. Like, I don't think that he punishes us for that. He punishes us in a very loving way oftentimes. It's like he just hits you. It's like a bop over the head. It's like the Doge bonk. He just bonks you real quick, and then you get back to it.
Wow, we've covered a few topics.
Went all over, man. Yeah, I mean that's Nick. So it's like I have a lot of topics I like.
This was great, man.
Yeah, man.
I think a really good question I always love asking at the end of the podcast is, what is something that you'd love for people to take away from this conversation that we just had?
God knows your intention. What's your intention? Get clear on it. If you have a clear intention, then everything you want will happen from that intention. So if your intention is negative, and it's clearly negative, everything negative will happen. If it's clearly positive, only positive will happen. So I think that more people should be intentional on what their never thought about that. Intentional with what their intention is. And if you can do that and realize that it's about feeling good and feeling happy and loving and accepting and all the positive good stuff for the world, everything you want will come rushing in at a rate that you could never even imagine. So that's a good wrap up, I guess.
That's our cue.
Greg,
appreciate you, brother.
Great talk. Appreciate you. Awesome.